What's up, friends and foes? My name's Corey.
I'm Wyatt.
And welcome to Let's Get Nerdy with another episode of Go-Go-Godzilla, the series where we go through every single Godzilla movie in the franchise to determine what?
Which one of them truly is king of them all. And today we're going to go over the son of Godzilla.
That's right, this week we are covering one of the more, I would say, infamous or even divisive movies in this series.
Yeah.
And we'll start it off talking about, I guess, Wyatt, usually we start it off talking about history and stuff like that with me. Do you have any history with this Godzilla movie?
So I thought I did.
Uh-huh.
I thought I did. And last week, in the previous video, I definitely shit on this movie because I think I said it was something like a dumpster fire on a train that was also on fire.
Yeah.
I was wrong. This is not the movie I thought it was. I was mistaken. I was thinking of I think Godzilla's Revenge, not this one. So I had never seen this before. So it was kind of exciting to just realize I hadn't seen it. It's a new Godzilla movie. We got to watch it. I guess some initial thoughts, since I don't have any history with it, is that it's divisive. It's I like a lot of things about it, but I also really dislike a lot of things about it too. And I feel like it gets worse as it goes on. Mm-hmm. For me anyway. So what about you? What's your history with it?
So I knew for sure I hadn't seen it. My history was everything I'd heard about it is that it's one of the worst Godzilla movies. I say divisive because I know some people like it for its silliness and its campiness, but for the most part, anything I've heard about it has not been in the positive light. So I just had never seen it because of that. And in terms of feelings, I feel like this movie. There's a lot of feelings I have about this movie, with some of them being like, there are some weird, specific moments that I think are really fucking cool. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of moments that I think are goofy and silly and a lot of really entertaining. And then there's a lot of moments that I fucking hate this movie. And I want it to be over so far.
Yeah,
and
same.
Unfortunately, I feel that one takes up most of the movie more than the silly, fun, goofy, or even, especially, the cool moments.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. It's very much predominantly like just, oh my god, I want to either take a nap or I want this to be over. Yeah, because we watched together, I literally looked at him and I was like, this makes me like, I feel sleepy right now because of this scene. Yeah. And then it just kept, and it wasn't even over when I was saying that. It still had more to go. It had like another 20 minutes at least.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
And it drug on. Like, this is an hour and I think like 36 minutes. And it felt like 2 hours at least.
Yeah. And some of the worst, and we're getting into the spoilers now too, and the deep plot.
Here we go.
Some of the worst fucking Godzilla moments ever. Like,
oh yeah, it's horrible. Godzilla,
this is about him being a father to, fans I guess refer to him as Minya. And there's not, don't actually give him a name in the movie. They just say Godzilla's child. Yeah. Or like little baby Godzilla. Ugliest fucking thing on the planet.
He's so goddamn ugly,
like,
dude.
The fact that when he hatches out of the egg, he's wet, is the weirdest shit. Like, I hated that so fucking much.
It's so fucking ugly, and then they're just automatically, like, it's been writhing around on the ground for, like, all of 0.2 seconds, and they're like, it's a baby Godzilla. Like, how did you fucking know, first of all?
It looks like mucus.
It does. And it just, it's like this fat balloon that's wet, and just,
But then leads to the one of two moments I was like, okay, that's actually pretty fucking cool, is you get, like, the first ever shot of Godzilla barreling towards this island. So to give a quick snapshot of what the plot is, whatever the fucking plot is, is there is a group of scientists on an island doing experiments on the weather, and a reporter happens to for some reason skydive in on them and joins them. And I guess their experiments irradiate the island and cause these praying mantises to grow to giant size that they call giant mantises.
Yeah.
And yeah, by the way, I said this to him. The people in this movie are the fucking bad guys because their whole experiment is to change the weather and change the environment, pretty much creating something potentially more dangerous than a nuclear bomb.
Well, yeah, in the movie, he was even like, "This is worse than a nuclear bomb."
Yeah.
Let's press on.
Yeah, then wwhy fucking make it?
Yeah, like you've already made more giant monsters, but we're just gonna keep doing it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So eventually, with all these, I guess, the experiments going on and like the human stuff, I don't even know is very much worth talking about.
It's not like they're not like annoying characters.
No.
Strangely, like I would be okay if I didn't have to spend time with them.
Yeah. It's just there's so much fucking time spent with them. And like the monster action is so lame. It's the only word I can think of it. There's one really good fight in this, or really entertaining. I don't even know if I'd say good, but a really entertaining fight. Kind of, and this is going back to like one of the cool moments is, so eventually these praying mantises that have been supersized because of the nuclear or the radiation experiments that they're performing, uncover an egg and start opening it up, and you get, we already mentioned, the fucking ugliest reveal of all time, as this Godzilla baby is wet, writhing on the ground and getting poked and prodded by these praying mantises as it's crying out. You then do get a POV shot of Godzilla barreling towards the island, and it's a really fucking cool shot.
It's a great shot.
It's like, it's ominous, and it's like literally as he's barreling, you're like, oh shit, Godzilla's coming to beat some ass.
Yeah. And
then it reveals to be the worst fucking Godzilla suit.
It's so
absolutely in the series. I don't know entirely what is coming ahead in these future movies.
Right.
There's no way it can be worse than this.
It can't be worse. The 54 suit is better.
Yeah.
By far.
The fucking Raids Again suit with the teeth poking out is better.
Yeah. This suit sucks.
Yeah.
His eyes are just all crunched up and derpy, and he just doesn't. I don't know.
Well, yeah, his eyes are going like two different ways the whole time. He looks like I don't know if you ever seen Young Frankenstein, but he looks like the guy who plays Igor. But then at least probably the best part of the movie is the praying mantis fight.
Yeah. Because
Godzilla legitimately kicks some ass during this.
Yeah.
So because the praying mantises are just ganging up, trying to like poking and prodding at baby Godzilla or Armenia or whatever you want to refer to it as. You know what he looks like? Have you ever seen the episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Danny DeVito or Frank shaves himself completely and then lathers himself in baby oil and asks, "Am I pure now?" You know what I'm talking about? That's what he looks like. I'll put a clip of it here.
Yourself.
I just want to be pure.
That's what he looks like.
Yeah.
That's what I think of every time I see him.
Oh, that's horrific.
But yeah, I guess I've been talking the most so far.
No, that's right.
This fight, because I don't really want to talk about anything else.
There's not much else to talk about.
What do you think about this fight?
This fight's great. I think it's the high point of the movie. And it's Godzilla slings the giant praying mantises around, and like unfortunately that slug is on the ground and still is like rocking back and forth, and then climbs on the Godzilla's tail. But it is pretty cool that he shows up in a cool way with that great shot, and then slings him over his shoulder and is like pulling some WWE moves on him and stuff.
Legitimately, okay. So a little bit, people who don't know, I've trained a little bit with professional wrestling, and he legitimately did the arm over the shoulder, picks it up, classic like power slam, and slammed the fuck out of this praying man. And it was awesome.
It was great.
And then and when he first shows up, the first one launches itself at him.
Yeah.
He dodges it and blows it up with the atomic breath, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And then he body slams one, and then catches another, and then just slams like bam,
just
bam, bam, until the dude, his arms fall off.
Yeah. So it's a great fight.
It's a great fight. There is one point I made you pause it
Yeah.
Like the camera zoomed out a little too much, kind of like I do sometimes here. Zoomed out too much, and you could see the set walls, which I thought was.
It was like the top of the set, like the light fixture or something almost is what it looked like.
It's like a split second.
Yeah.
But it's longer than blink and you miss it.
Oh yeah, it's there. They could have cut it.
Yeah.
But it's there. And this one you can see some other set wall pieces and like some cables and strings and stuff for the monsters themselves throughout. Especially in the snowy section, it seemed like.
And that's pretty much because, like, if anybody knows the history, this movie's budget was literally ass. It was like, because they chose to make this one lower budgeted and gave this to the same team, or the secondary team that did Godzilla vs. Ebra, because I think we just looked at Fukuda. Fukuda was the director again, returned as a director, and because the main unit, Ishiro Honda and like his main like group of people he worked with, they were working on Kong Escapes at the time.
Okay.
So, or Kong Escapes or Lives? I'll put it here.
I could not tell you.
But they were working on the Kong movie at the time, so that's why. Like, and because of that, they gave the Kong movie the bigger budget too, because they wanted that Kong movie.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
And
it does feel a lot like the Ibra movie.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Like I can see that, and it had some like quirky music, and like it was more goofy.
Yeah, I think so. Same composer too. I think I forget the guy's name, but it was the same composer as the versus the sea creature or whatever.
Yeah. It is interesting though, like for as much shit as we're giving this movie, like we did get that first like, I think this is the first time we've gotten that like epic shot of him coming in from the ocean, like your perspective from the land or whatever, and you see him coming in and see his fins like parting the water and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was cool to see. And then I think we talked about it. The roar might have changed a little bit to be a little bit more recognizable as you go on.
Yeah, it's the sound. And maybe this is just my first time noticing it, and you kind of said the same thing of like, it sounds like this is the first of the roar that we get throughout the majority of the series. It sounds like the first time with his.
Yeah, and they also, I mean, they introduced some new monsters, which was cool, even though they were kind of bland.
I would say it was cool that they introduced new monsters, but the monsters sucked.
I mean, they did suck, but I appreciated that they did something new.
Yeah.
You know, and which, I mean, they have been doing. The only returning monsters, I guess, has been like Rodan and Mothra and Ghidorah at this point. But these guys do show up again, which was kind of cool, you know, to see where their first movie. Anyway, they like they mentioned, they made a reference to Monster Island, like it being a Monster Island and stuff like that, which was cool to see that kind of.
And they kind of did, jumping to the end here, they did insinuate at the end that this is the island where Godzilla and his son will live. I think kind of indicating that this will be Monster Island.
Yeah, which was, so it's, I mean, yeah, like, so for as much shit as this movie does get, there was some neat first or recurring themes that will come back throughout later movies, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, which is interesting that it's coming this late in the movie, or in the series too, because like, if you think about it, what's crazy is this came out in '67, I think. I looked online, and that means this is like 13 years after the original.
Yeah.
And like we think of it as still as pretty early in the series, but like to put it in perspective, like that's Iron Man.
Yeah.
That's that's Iron Man. Like that 54 to Iron Man is like, I think then Quantumania, which I think is a apt comparison.
That is
Son of
Godzilla
Godzilla is the Quantumania.
Yeah, that's true. That is very that's accurate.
Yeah. So with that, we do probably need to talk about the human cast a little bit more, because this has a large amount of returning players here, or people from previous movies. Primarily, I think this has, for sure, the guy who played Serizawa, the guy who played, I forget his name in the previous movies, and I forget his name in this movie. He played the nerd in Invasion of
the sound
the guy who beat the aliens.
Yeah. He saved the Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. And then I think there's a couple of. I even think the guy who played Ogata in the first one, and then who had been in quite a few others after that, including Ibara, all return. Like there's like it feels like most of the cast are people who have been in previous movies.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
That is cool. That makes it fun in a way.
And there is some entertainment in the movie. Like it's kind of like everything with this movie starts out really strong, and then by the end of it, I stopped caring.
Yeah.
Is what it is. Because, like, the introduction of the reporter was really entertaining because he did the whole, like, he's like, you guys are going to let me stay or I'm not going to move an inch. I'm not going to move an inch until you let me stay.
Yeah.
And then he did exactly that. It was kind of funny. And then there was one guy on the island because the island, I guess, is, like, ridiculously hot. And it was so hot it ended up driving him crazy.
Yeah.
And he could, like, twice was running around with a gun trying to, like, get off the island.
Yeah, they're very quirky characters. They're okay. They're not Oscar-winning characters, but they were fun.
Yeah.
So.
And like I said, it does start off entertaining, but it hits the point of like, I think it's the point that the spider wakes up.
Yeah.
That I just, for some reason, my brain was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
But because by this point we've kind of gotten all of what we're getting out of this movie. Of like, we haven't spoken about this yet. Like the scenes of Godzilla and Minya actually like interacting.
Yeah.
And Godzilla is every bit of a father in the 1960s.
Completely.
All he does is take naps and beat his child.
That's all he does.
All he's missing is the beer and the cigarette.
He teaches him a few things here and there, but like primarily, is sleeping on the floor and then beating his child.
Yeah, teaches him to throw. Instead of throwing a ball or playing catch with him, he teaches him to shoot the atomic breath.
Yeah. Which would be kind of cool, except for the fact that when Minya doesn't do it correctly, he's like hand up, like over his head, and Minya's like cowering.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh my god, it's like, really?
That was the old like, listen, I only got money for college, so you better learn to throw something.
Someone could like Photoshop like just like a wife beater over Godzilla.
Yeah.
Like a cigarette in one hand as he's
cigarette hanging out of the mouth.
Would fit pretty perfectly.
Yeah. And there was a couple of the scenes that ended up being, I think, sorry, I don't know why I'm reading. I'm gonna keep that in too. No, 3, 2, 1. And there was a couple of kind of cute and heartwarming scenes that I thought were in the movie for Godzilla and Minya. Outside of the potential abusive scenes or evidence for Minya to be adopted out to maybe Mothra instead. They're particularly like the scene where he's like, Minya is like jump roping Godzilla's tail while he's sleeping, and then lands on it, and Godzilla just wakes up and was like, "What the fuck are you doing? Stop!" And then you kind of get the scene of like Godzilla finally being a fatherly figure at the end when like the snow's falling and he comes and picks Minya up out of it. But that's it.
There's not a lot to it. I could have done without Minya.
Minya?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. God.
I'm gonna take that back. I think I have really enjoyed how horrendously weird this creature is.
And that's where I think why I have such a bone to pick with how many human scenes we get. Because I would have loved to just kind of have most of the movie being the point of the fucking movie, Minya and Godzilla interacting and like, but we get like, I think like really like 3 main scenes with them. And the last one is the fight, which, we haven't really talked too much about it. Like the final fight in this is this creature, like, what is it, Spiga?
Spiga? Yeah, I think
Spiga. I kept calling it like Spiga, and in my opinion, this is the most boring. It's just a spider.
Yeah,
it's just a spider. It's just a giant spider, which is like, say what you will about like the previous monsters so far in the series, but like Ghidorah, Rodan, Mothra, there's something interesting going on about them. Like the idea that Mothra is this like a deity-like creature that's more spiritual than actual, more spiritual. Like Ghidorah is a three-headed dragon from space. Yeah. Rodan is a bitch. They all have something going on that's somewhat entertaining. This is just really like the only time that I was like actually like, whoa, that's kind of freaky is like when it kills the Gigantus by like the like sticking the needle in it. And I was like, oh, that's kind of creepy. But then like
it had potential because it did kill the Gigantus in that way, but then like turned to do the same thing to Minya, and like it was kind of like not towering, but like just hovering over Minya, like getting closer, like to poke and prod at him, and kill him. But it doesn't really feel like there's much of a threat with this thing. Like it just spits spiderwebs at people. Yeah. And then it poked Godzilla in the eye, and then it got caught on fire.
Yeah. I mean. Well, yeah, and especially with that first fight of the giant, like the three praying mantises getting like slammed and thrown around. Yeah. And it's like you kind of just get Godzilla like shooting it until
and I guess that first fight with the Gigantuses does give you an expectation for the rest of the movie, and then you get to that last fight, and it is just kind of like, all right, I'm gonna spray some webs at you, and then I'll shoot some atomic breath at you. I'll spray some more webs, and they might throw some rocks, but it's really about all that there is to it, and it's a really boring fight.
Yeah, and I gotta say this, as far as the whole series of Godzilla goes so far, up to what we're seeing in terms of the original run, I can't fucking see another rock getting thrown. Every fucking movie. At first I was like, oh, that's funny, they're playing volleyball with some rocks. And then the volleyball scene happens in every single fucking movie.
It happened in this one.
Yeah.
Fucking stupid Minya he tried to fight one of the Gigantuses by himself, and then got his ass beat, and then tried to... Did he even kick the rock on purpose, or was it an accident? Like, he hit it with his tail?
I think it was an accident.
Yeah, like, so this rock flies at the Gigantus, and it, like, bats it back at him, and then it comes back and clocks him in the fucking nose.
Yeah. Well, that's the second time that happened, because the first time was, the first time was when he was first born. Godzilla throws the rock at the praying mantises, and they like hockey stick it around, and then launch it right at Minya.
That's right.
And fucking beat him in the eyes, and that's the best part of the movie. Just the way he just drops too. It's the best part of the movie.
It is. Another comment about that weird little fucking abomination is like it just like springs up all of a sudden, like from its knees. It can't roll over or anything else. Yeah. It just sits there and flops around, but then we'll just like spring up on its knees. This is like the newborn. Yeah. Fresh out of the egg, Minya. Yeah. It's still slimy. Yeah. It just like springs up on its knees and then like gets knocked out. Yeah. And falls down.
Yeah. And I really don't think, I know we keep coming back to this, I don't think I'd hate the newborn Minya as much if it weren't for how wet it is. That upsets me. The wetness, I can't do with.
It's wet, and then the fucking Gigantus just keep poking it. And it's just, it makes these weird noises and just rocks around and shit, and it's weird.
Yeah. The one of the things I kept thinking of, like, have you ever, the meme where it's like, oh, if me and my friend would have killed E.T. with a baseball bat? Like, if we had found E.T. Oh, well, there's a meme, I'll probably put it in here, that says, like, oh, if me and my friends had found E.T., we would probably have killed it with baseball bats. And honestly, I probably would have fucking taken a bat to this thing. If I saw it, I hate this.
It's just one of those things, like, like for most newborn creatures, like, you're supposed to feel some empathy and compassion. I just don't. No. I just don't with this thing. No. I don't. It's gross. Yeah. It's gross and it's weird. I don't know if okay, and also though, like, how fucking long were they on this island? Because it was a little tiny newborn slug, and then all of a sudden it's like half the size of Godzilla.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I was like, I don't know how long, like, because I hadn't realized I had grown up. Yeah. Until you pointed it out, and I was like, how fucking long Or is it literally just like over a couple of days that it like?
Yeah, is it like an alien, like a xenomorph, like it grows exponentially fast?
Yeah.
Or have they been there for like 3 months or more? So
Other than that, I don't really know what else other plot-wise stuff we could talk about at this point that we haven't at least mentioned or care to talk about. So let's start kind of, Wyatt, what are your final thoughts or summation of this movie?
I guess a couple of quick final thoughts is, like, I think the set was cool. The music was cool. There's a couple of points that I actually wanted to know what the actual track name was, because I would have liked to listen to it outside of the movie itself. But aside from those two thoughts, I think you should watch it at least once, if for nothing else, because it's weird and funny. I think I described this pretty well earlier when we were watching this. This feels like the movie that on like a Saturday afternoon, like you've fallen asleep watching a movie you wanted to watch, and this came on TV afterwards while you were asleep, and you woke up, and then you said that you should, at that point, you're just...
You want to do something better.
Yeah, you just like, I should do something else. I should be productive with my day. And so it's on for about 5 minutes, and you turn it off, and go to the gym or literally do anything else.
Yeah.
I think it's worth watching one time though. So
I would agree. I just wish it was maybe just a bit more entertaining in that I guess area. Like, I wish it was a bit worse than it is in terms of ridiculousness, silliness, and like, because like there's enough of it that I'm more bored than going, oh, what are they even fucking doing? You know, like,
that's a good point.
And that's ultimately like kind of going back to what I initially said, is there's a couple of moments, badass moments, which the second badass moment we're going to talk about is the way they finally beat Spiga is Godzilla and Minya finally hitting their breath together at the same time.
That was pretty cool.
And it reminded me enough of the father-son Kamehameha against Cell that I was like, all right, that's pretty badass. But other than that, like, those two sort of badass moments, which the first one, again, was ruined by how dumb Godzilla looked. And then the silly, ridiculous moments just didn't happen enough frequently. Like, it was more of, like, I found myself more so waiting for the next thing to happen than I actually was like, oh, this is hilarious. Or, you know, I wanted to be more entertained by this.
Yeah, it does drag. It drags. It feels like it's 2 hours when it's an hour and 30. I said this already, but like it feels like 2 hours. Yeah. And it's not. So.
Yeah. And now we're at the point where we go ahead and see how this one stacks up to every other Godzilla movie we've covered so far, which right now we're sitting at 12. At number 12 is Godzilla Raids Again. At number 11 is Godzilla versus the Invasion of the Astro Monster. At number 10, we have Godzilla vs. King Kong, the 1962 version. At number 9, we have Godzilla vs. Kong, the 2021 version. At number 8, we have Godzilla, the 2014 version. At number 7, we have Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, or Eater of the Monster of the Deep, or whatever. Yeah, that one. At number 6, we have Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. At number 5, we have GXK, or Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire. At number 4, we have the original Godzilla 1954. At number 3, we have Mothra vs. Godzilla. Number 2, we have Godzilla King of the Monsters, the 2019 version. And number 1, we have Godzilla -1. I guess both the colored and the non-colored version. Yeah. Wyatt!
Sir.
Is this knocking off Godzilla -1 or what? I think I've said that for the last 3, and each time we're like, no, not at all.
No, not a fucking chance.
Where do you think this ranks?
So I think it's pretty shit. It's going down to the bottom, not the very bottom, but I'm gonna put it 1 above Raids Again.
You have still put it above 1?
Yeah, I fucking hate Raids Again.
You know what? I think I'm conflicted about this because I almost agree with you. I'm trying to figure out what do I like better: Godzilla breaking the fucking jaw, in like brutalizing Anguirus or him brutalizing 3 different praying mantises. I think I'm okay with this going above Raids Again. Yeah. Ultimately, like, I think I would watch this again before Raids Again. It would be like literally I've watched everything else. This is still left and Raids Again. I'd be like, eh.
Yeah. That was kind of my thought process too. Is like, I mean, this was funny enough that I think I would watch. I would watch it again more than I would want to watch Raids Again. I don't want to watch Raids Again.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
I would have to be paid, I think, to watch that movie again anytime soon. So
that's fair. So I guess that's the ranking there. So the new updated ranking is Godzilla Raids Again at number 13, still in last place. Number 12, we now have Son of Godzilla. Number 11, we have Godzilla versus, right? No, sorry, let me restart that. So I losing track of the list fast. So at number 13, we have Godzilla Raids Again, still in last place. At number 12, we have Son of Godzilla. Number 11, we have Invasion of the Astro Monster. At number 10, we have Godzilla vs. King Kong, the OG, 62. Number 9, we have Godzilla vs. Kong, 2021. At number 8, we still have Godzilla, 2014. Number 7, we have Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster. At number 6, we still have Ghidorah, the 3-headed monster. At number 5, we still have Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire. At number 4, we still have the original Godzilla 1954. At number 3, still remains Godzilla vs. Mothra. Number 2, 2019's Godzilla King of the Monsters. And finally, at number 1, still remains King of them all for now, Godzilla -1. Keep following us to see if that remains. I believe next up we have Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters.
Yes.
Which is, in fact, if you didn't know, was intended to be the initial finale for this whole series. I've only seen it once, and I don't remember anything in it, so I'm really excited.
Same.
So, until then, my name is Corey.
I'm Wyatt.
Wyatt.
Good God.
We've been Let's Get Nerdy.
There it is.
Please like and subscribe. Join us next time. Until then, we got to get back to nerding out.
Thanks, guys.